we are ready to bring you Game 7, the 113th Game 7 in Stanley Cup playoff history, and the third time these two teams have gone at it. And guess what? The previous two times that it's been a Game 7 Calgary-Vancouver, it has gone to overtime to settle the issue. So settle down for 3 hours of entertainment. Brzezinski cutting in, centering pass right in front of Kiprusoff. And it's the Flames starting it back the other way. Stefan Yell into the zone now. Nielsen going to the front of the net. The Vancouver defenseman, Merrick Malik, lost his stick. And just now will have an opportunity to get to the bench and get a new piece of lumber. Jordan Leopold, number 4 for the Flames, dumps it in behind Alex Auld. He'll move it up the left wing side. Brad May has it. Can these two teams possibly repeat what they did 48 hours ago in Calgary when they staged a 3-overtime, emotionally, physically draining marathon that had all the turns and twists of the best novel that any writer could come up with?
We'll be watching the physical play, Dave, because that'll be the telltale sign. If guys start to run out of gas halfway through this game, then you'll know that the stress and wear and tear of Game 6 really added up.
Crowd reacting to Mike Keane and his big hit, but here come the Flames, led by their big gunner, Jerome. Again, he's pressed to the boards there by Sopel, number 3. Sopel and Matthias Olin, the defense pair that's been out virtually all the time against Iginla. Big hit by the defenseman Ferris. Iginla centers just off the bench. Here's a chance and a shot steered aside by Alex Auld. It was Matthew Lombardi that had come off the bench and received that pass. Number 18 for the Calgary Flames. Iginla again. He's been out there for a long chip. Wraparound stopped by Auld. Loose puck picked up by the Flames. Sent across by Ville Nieminen. But it's recovered, and Mike Keane will clear it out to center ice.
And that was because the matchup that's been there all series long. Olin against Iginla was effective over on the side. Olin did a great job of tying up with Jerome Iginla. He had no chance at that pass.
John Donovan of the Flames. Big collision there with Matt Cook. Cook gets himself ready and knocks Lombardi down, but the puck's still in the Canucks zone. Here was Sean Donovan. Sends it right through the crease. Robin Regeer at the far point. His shot is blocked to the near side of the Vancouver zone. And what a start in terms of the pace at the start of this Game 7.
Well, you know Calgary wants to do this. Calgary gets in there. They run around. They're great forecheckers. They play a very physical game. They also want to take away the puck possession game of Vancouver. When Vancouver's rolling, they've got the puck. They control it. They sit back like this and try to make plays. But as you can see early on here, Calgary's in their face and causing turnovers everywhere. Speaking
of that, Salo was bumped off the puck. And here comes a shot by Commodore. Save, rebound chance. And Kovacic was right there, number 7. And he was stopped by Auld as the Calgary Flames carrying the early play. Marcus Naslund now dumps it in deep. Trevor Linden out there. Takes a hit on the far side. As Jovanovski could not hold it in the zone. The play whistled offside as tempers get just a little bit short, as they often do in a Game 7.
That's
Alex Auld.
You're not supposed to. You're supposed to have complete temper and control, aren't you, in Game 7?
Yeah,
I kind of doubt it. Alex Auld's done a terrific job stepping in the lurch in the middle of this series. A couple of saves early on is always nice for a young goaltender in Game 7. He's only had a handful of playoff games ever, and he's been up to the task. He looked really good in Game 6, and the bottom line is he came away with the victory.
He is only the 7th goaltender in playoff history to start a Game 7 with less than 20 games of NHL experience under his belt. That is a save there by Kiprusoff as he hangs on.
Mika Kiprusoff is the single biggest reason that the Calgary Flames even made it into the playoffs, and every player on the Flames will tell you that. He had a splendid year. Start off the early part of this series, he didn't quite look himself, but then again, maybe the Flames didn't either. He has settled down. The bottom line for him is he has battled his way here into Game 7. He has a little bit more experience than Auld does.
Kiprusoff, a mid-November pickup for the Calgary Flames, and as Brian mentioned, the biggest reason why they made this run to the playoff. Henrik Sedin drops it off for his brother, whose shot was blocked by Conroy, and it's back out now for Iginla as he sends it deep into the Vancouver zone. Olin ties up Martin Jelena. Jelena, number 23 for the Flames, and Henrik Sedin looked like he lost an edge there, as the Sedin twins have really started to elevate their game the longer this series has gone on. Here comes Matador, number 5, playing in his first ever playoff game, and it's a Game 7. Jelena shot deflected wide. And it is cleared by Malik for the Vancouver Canucks. Jeff Sanderson sends it center ice. Marco Ruutu dumps it deep into the Flame zone. Calgary looking to come out with it, and it's picked up by Stefan Yell. Tries to one-hand it to Chris Clark, intercepted by Sanderson. Sanderson had a goal and an assist in Game 6. That's a two-line pass. And so that will stop play here as we take a look at Daryl Sutter. You talk about a team, Brian, that's in the mold of their coach.
Oh, absolutely. This team is just made for him. It's young. It's excitable. He knows how to get him revved up. He loves the pressure game all over the place. He gets them in the offensive zone. They work on turnovers. They don't have a lot of skill. He knows that. Jerome McGinley is by far their best player, but there's a big drop-off after that. Jerome McGinley had a 26-point lead over the #2 guy on their team in scoring. That's how big a difference there is.
As you saw, the Flames have lost their last 7 playoff games when they could clinch a series. They've not won a playoff series since they won the Stanley Cup Finals in 1989 against Montreal. Bouncing puck right in front of Kiprusoff. Sean Donovan picks it up. Another big hit, that time by Matt Cook. He's delivered a couple of them here in the first period. Donovan now looking to go wide. Snaps a shot. Auld juggles and has it in the glove.
Well, Vancouver hasn't had many opportunities in the offensive zone yet. It's been mostly Calgary here. It's either been in the neutral zone or in Vancouver's end, but finally they get it going just by a simple little flip into the zone and then a big rebound. Sometimes Kiprusoff will do that, but those pucks that are flipped in are a lot more difficult to handle than you think they are. The physical pounding continues against the Calgary Flames and for the Calgary Flames. There will be so many bumps and bruises by the time this Game 7 is over, and it's already cost the play of a couple of players for the Calgary Flames, and that really hurts their defense with no Lidman and no Gauthier.
Here's Iginla with a chance, and all slid across and stayed right with him with the blocker. And here's Iginla again, and there is Olin. The two of them like brothers in this series. And they've been fighting like brothers as well.
It's been physical between Olin and Iginla. It's a great matchup. They've known each other actually for about 2 years now. Every time they play, Calgary and Vancouver, it's always Olin against Iginla.
Warner unable to hold that puck in, dumps it back into the Vancouver zone. A delayed offside here, and both teams looking to make a change. So the Vancouver defense will be able to skate this puck out. They'll wave off the offside. And it's deflected by Commodore, but Ruchinski for the Canucks sends it deep into the Flame zone. Here is Ferentz for Commodore. Quick off the boards now for Clark. Left wing side now, Marcus Nielsen taken down on the play offside at the Vancouver blue line. Well, you mentioned something about not wanting to allow Vancouver to get into a puck possession game, and Jerome McGinley was saying this morning, Brian, we have to stay out of the penalty box. Not only do we not want Vancouver to score on the power play, he said even if they don't score, they get into their game, we get out of ours.
Yeah, I mentioned the puck possession game for Vancouver, and of course if Vancouver gets power plays, which they have at certain times during the series, and that's what Jerome was talking about. They have taken some dumb penalties, and especially early in the game. If you allow Vancouver the favor, do them the favor of letting them get on power plays, let them handle the puck, even if they don't score the goals, they've established their game, and now they're hot. Calgary doesn't want to do that. So yeah, Calgary wants the contact, but they can't take penalties.
An icing call against Calgary, and just to show you what we mean, in the first 6 games of this series, Brian, before the game was 11 minutes old, Calgary had taken at least 2 penalties, so they're shorthanded. And Game 1, it really cost them because the Canucks scored 4 power play goals in that game.
Well, it's funny because both these teams, but especially Calgary, have been really effective in the first 5 minutes of games. I mean, about half the goals that Calgary has scored in the entire series, they've scored in the first 5 minutes of periods too. So it's look out in those first few minutes, and it fits with the style of the Calgary Flames too.
Morrison checked by Yell. He eased up just a bit and just enough so that he didn't get the attention of the officials. And of course, always pressure in a Game 7 on the referees, Dan Marawelli and Brad Watson getting the nod tonight. Brad Kovacic, Mark Wheeler are the linesmen. Now Malik, did he hold it in? Yes, he did. Cook just out of his reach. He battles now with Regier. Now it comes back toward the line. Yell without a stick, trying to glove it, kick it, do whatever he can to get it outside the zone. And he does. Now Naslund trying to dig it out of there. Morrison, the overtime hero from Game 6, drops it back to the defense. It is dumped in by Jovanovski. Regier, took a big hit. Brad May holds it in. Here's Mike Keane. He's got the most Game 7 experience of anybody. Now May with a big hit on the far side. This line can certainly provide a lot of energy, and that's exactly what Keane and May are trying to do. And the play offside.
If the Vancouver Canucks need a little emotional boost and they don't get it from the crowd, they will get it from Mark Crawford if they need it. He is one of the most emotional coaches behind the bench I have ever seen. That can be good, that can be bad.
Yeah.
That is definitely Mark.
You saw the 2 Game 7s last year. They were down 1-0 to St. Louis and came back. We have an icing call here and came back against that injury-depleted St. Louis team that had Al McInnes, who probably should not have been in the lineup. And then in the Game 7 loss against Minnesota, Mark Crawford's club was ahead 2-0 late in the second period. Some of the Vancouver players were talking about that, and that strange goal by the Wild turned that Game 7 around.
It's really interesting. I watch Mark Crawford a lot at the breaks and what he does on his bench, but he is no wilting rose behind there, I can tell you that.
Now it is fired in by the Flames deep into the connection, and a huge hit and a penalty coming. That was Brian Allen that went down, and there's going to be a little bit of an argument here from Billy Niemanen.
It's the way the contact happened.
Yep, exactly.
Allen stopped up. Billy Niemanen really put a little extra oomph into it. Well, a lot extra, yeah, and he's going to get the boarding call. And it was because it ended up being a blow to the head. That's what always makes such a big difference. Billy Niemanen always finishes his checks. But number 5 will stop up and see how he bent down to. I'm not quite sure why he was bent down that much, to be honest with you. The stuff right there on the goal can't give you an idea. But it's almost as if Allen expected Billy Niemanen to go high, and he didn't. And he ended up pinning his head and his shoulders up against the board. But this is what we talked about. Calgary didn't want to take penalties early.
7:09, so we have our first penalty inside the 10-minute mark of period number 1 of this Game 7. So that trend continuing right now. So the pressure on the Calgary penalty killers against this Vancouver team that you see is operating at just over 23%. They have scored 8 power play goals in this series. 4 of them, however, coming in Game 1. As we're here now for the shorthanded Flames around the boards. That caught Rucinski right in the side of the head. Caught him right in the ear. He is struggling to get to the bench. He is replaced down the ice. Jovanovski a shot. Save made by Kiprasov. He followed that puck right over the top of his head. Now Conroy gets there for the Flames, able to clear it all the way down. Rucinski took that puck right in the side of the head.
That can affect your balance and everything. The pain that happens when you get hit in the ear like that, it's just tremendous.
Now Red Warner for the Flames, bounces it around. Jovanovski could not hold it in. And Jovanovski, soccer style, plays it back to the goaltender.
Yikes. That's a lot of confidence in your young goaltender who hasn't played very much. Stanley Cup Finals, Game 7.
Henrik Sedin into the zone. Looking for his identical twin brother Daniel down lower. Sanderson in front of the net, or he goes out to Olin at the line. Olin hands it back. Here's Henrik with a pass. Redirected. Daniel Sedin, saved by Kiprasov. Here is Henrik again now. Hands it off. Sanderson cycles out of the corner. Steps up. Sent over the drive. And a good save by Kiprasov. He saw that all the way.
Well, this is what we talked about. The puck control from the Vancouver Canucks. They are really good. And the defense for Vancouver are outstanding. They get involved in the rush. And they also get involved inside the zone. And the best play started from the blue line. But it's the first problem you have to do is you have to get in the zone under control. And look at that. Just nice and cool and calm. That's Henrik Sedin. Then back to the point. They take it into the middle of the ice and then back to Sedin. Sedin doesn't go for the big slap shot. He knows his brother's in front of the net. They've known each other pretty well all their lives.
Now some players are roommates. Those guys were roommates.
No. Okay, that's enough of that right now.
All right.
I know it's Game 7 and a special, but no more. No more.
Now Naslund circling back. Down to the final 10 seconds of this Vancouver power play. Cook hands it off for Naslund. Wanted to go back to the line. Jovanovski, good job to hold it in. Morrison sets it up shallow. Winds up for the drive. That never got all the way through. And it's picked off and cleared by Nielsen of the Flames. All clearing it all the way to center ice. Off of the stick of Cook. Now it comes back. Here's again up the right side, and a save made by All. Boy, did he look calm, flashing out that right skate and kicking that Iginla drive aside. Commodore tried to hold it in. Linesman says no. Offside is the call.
There's a lot of good balance on the Vancouver Canucks. They have the ability to move the puck around, and they're excellent on the power play, especially in this series. But look at these numbers. The top line for Vancouver in the 3 wins, 13 points. In the 3 losses, 1 point. The great thing about Marcus Naslund is he is a world-class player. He always rises to the occasion. He had 2 assists, rather, including an assist on the winning goal by Morrison in Game 6 when they were in the do-or-die situation. So if you're a Vancouver fan, don't worry about Naslund getting up to the task.
He is always there as Chabarov, number 13 for the Canucks, slides it in deep. Kiprasov out to play it. Hands it off. Here was Matador again, his first ever playoff game. Sanderson knocked it away. Following up on the play is Keane. He sends it back to the line. Malik rolls it to the far side. Sopel didn't have a lane to the net. Sends it deep. Stefan Yell rolls it back for the Flames. It'll be picked up along the near boards by Matador, and he makes the safe play off the boards to center ice. Here's Sean Donovan. Tried to hand it off for Saprikin. And it's recovered now by Nielsen. Drives a shot that's deflected over the glass and out of play. Game 7 is scoreless. Henrik Sedin now wanted to put it to the front of the net. He is checked there by Saprikin, and the puck cleared by Neiman and out to center ice. Kobasu racing after it. It bounces in on Alden. He decides to cover up, and then a collision as Kobasu could not slow down.
Game 7s are not about X's and O's. It's about desperation. Desperation means getting to loose pucks. It means battling for loose pucks. It means playing desperate defense. You have to have that mentality that you have to get back on the defensive play because you might be the only guy that can stop that other team from scoring. And desperate offense. If you have a potential for an outnumbered attack, you better skate desperately because the best players on the other team are desperately trying to get back.
After a face-off win by the Flames, here's Iginla battling against two Canucks, and this screen shot by Commodore went just wide. And Matador pinched in and tried to hold it in the zone, but it came back into the Calgary Flames. And here's Martin Jelena with it. He did not clear the zone. Sokol with a drive. Kiprasov makes the save, and he hangs on. And we've got a scrap going on in the corner, and that is Jarkko Ruutu.
What a surprise!
Yeah.
Jarkko Ruutu will be in the midst of most things that are going on. Certainly if he's on the ice, he will be within arm's length of all of them. And they are trying to get to any Calgary Flames players they can, but especially the defensemen. If they can make initial contact, this time it was just a good solid forward push by Jarkko Ruutu. Unfortunately for Vancouver, though, it is going to cost him a couple of minutes in the penalty box. So Martin Jelena was the guy who got bowled over. He's not too happy, but he's willing to pay the price to get a power play.
Now this series is tied at 3. The power play in the first 3 games for Vancouver, red hot. Last 3 games not so good. And the Calgary Flames now get the man advantage here as they try to do something with their special teams. They are hitting at just over 11% in this series. They have scored 4 power play goals. They were 0 for 4 on the Marathon loss in Game 6 the other night.
Yeah, in short, the special teams for Calgary have really let them down. I mean, they can't let that beat them in this game, and that's going to be a tall order because usually when you have momentum or don't have momentum, in Calgary's case, it's hard to all of a sudden get it going in a Game 7. But never say never.
We're at General Motors Place here for Game 7 between the Canucks and the Flames. Here's Regehr holding it in on the far side. It is Lombardi sending it along the boards. Now it comes back to the youngster number 18. He sends it to the line. Lombardi now to Leopold. Deflects it in deep for Stefan Yell, getting some power play time here for the Calgary Flames. A minute remaining on the Ruutu penalty, and now the puck is cleared by the Canucks all the way back down behind Kiprasov. Iginla center ice, sends it up high on the glass. Auld in the net, just kind of directing traffic for his teammates. Now gets a stick on it and sends it ahead for Matt Cook. Now back for Morrison into the zone and just poked away.
Vancouver pretty aggressive, even shorthanded. They had 3 guys up on the play there. Good job by Calgary defense to stand up there, but Vancouver sort of crossed themselves up there. They got all tangled up on the rush. They would have had a decent chance shorthanded there.
Good job here by Ferentz to hold the puck in for the Flames. Working on this power play for another 15 seconds. Brian Allen for Vancouver to Morrison and now to Cook. And Cook will wisely waste some time here and now puts it in deep.
Vancouver doing a nice job here. Nothing really threatening at all here for the Calgary Flames on their power play.
Flames did not get a shot on goal on that man advantage. And this play is whistled down. Congratulations to Montreal for their comeback from a 3-1 deficit.
Absolutely terrific job by Montreal. I really am astounded, to be frank with you, that Montreal came up with 3 consecutive wins like that to down the Boston Bruins. That's great stuff for them.
Well, there was a huge cheer in this building when Montreal scored that first goal in the 3rd period. And, of course, when they wrapped it up with the empty net goal. A lot of pride here in Canada. Of course, Vancouver, the last team from Canada to make it to the Stanley Cup Finals when they lost in '94 to the New York Rangers. The Montreal Canadiens, the last Canadian team to win the Stanley Cup, and that was the year before in 1993. Top of the circle shot, screen shot, looking for it, and it's picked up by Jovanovski right in the crease and hoisted out to center right. Commodore will dump it back in.
Well, that's the other thing that Calgary does well when they're on their game. They do get to the front of the net. They take up a lot of room, and they're tough on the goaltender.
Here's Regeer, knocked down center right by Morrison. Morrison into the zone, top of the circle, and his shot was blocked by Regeer wide. Here was Naslund, sends it in deep. Naslund, Morrison, and Cook out there for Mark Crawford. A hit on again by Cook, but Nielsen comes away with it. Nielsen from center ice slides it in wide of Auld. Now Cook dumps it back into the Calgary zone. Regeer, long pass. Zaprikin battling for the Flames, dumps it in deep. Matthias Olin has it now. Hands it off, and it's cleared to center ice for Daniel Sedin. He's run into by 2 Calgary Flames. Now Sanderson being ridden to the end boards by Ferentz. Henrik Sedin had it knocked away, and it's recovered by Craig Conroy, and Conroy starts to back up ice. Into the zone, hands it off Warner, top of the circle, a drive. All just deflects that one, and it goes over the glass and out of play.
Mike Keane was invited to training camp in Vancouver for precisely that reason. 220 playoff games. This is his 10th Game 7 in his career. Experience, experience, experience. He knows what to say in the locker room. He knows body language. He knows all the things that have to be said and done before the puck is even dropped. This Vancouver team had 2 Game 7s last year. The last one was a disaster.
Clark wheels the fire shot. It was blocked. Mike Keane with 3 goals and 2 assists in the previous 9 Game 7s he's participated in. He's been a factor on the score sheet, vocal in the locker room. And puck now for the Calgary Flames. Stefan Yell along with Marcus Nielsen, but it's Trevor Linden now for the Canucks, sending it ahead, and Daniel Sedin dumps it back into the Calgary zone. Brett Warner backhands it deep. John Donovan taken to the boards there by Sopel. Flames come away with it. As Lombardi dumps it along the end board. Sopel there for Vancouver, dumps it out to center ice, and it's flipped right back into the Vancouver bench and out of play.
There's so much passion and emotion going into a Game 7. There's a little bit of Mark Crawford that I talked about. The stage for this Game 7 for the Canucks, I think, was set last year when they lost in Game 7 to Minnesota. It was devastating. And there was, I mean, there was pain, there was anger, there was yelling and screaming. There were reports of a lot of stuff coming out of that locker room in Vancouver after it was all over. Those players that were here last year, and there are a lot of them on Vancouver, will not want to revisit those emotions that they had there. That sets the stage. Sometimes fear of failure is the biggest motivating factor, and I think a lot of Vancouver Canucks have that in this game.
Yeah, Brendan Morrison was talking about that this morning. Not only were they ahead 2-0 in the second period of that Game 7 against Minnesota, they felt they were totally in control. And when that puck jumped up in the air...
That's the problem right there. They thought they were in total control. But I think they experienced that in Game 6. They were ahead 4 goals against this Calgary club. So I don't think they're going to feel like they're in total control until that final buzzer sounds one way or the other tonight.
Well, it might be why the prevailing song in the pregame warm-up was The Who singing "We Won't Get Fooled Again."
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. That better be playing in their minds the entire game tonight.
Now a pass to the front of the net for the Vancouver Canucks, but Monador was there, number 5, playing in his first ever playoff game, and it's a Game 7. And Steve Monador has seen a few shifts here. I mean, he's taken a regular turn on defense. They
have to be able to play him a little bit because of the injuries they have and because their top guys played over 40 minutes for Calgary in that 3 overtime game the other night. They have to spot Monador in. He did get his pocket picked early on in the game, but the good thing is nothing bad happened.
Here is Trevor Linden up the right side with Brad May and Mike Keane. It's knocked away. Martin Jelena. He has an overtime playoff goal to his credit. Remember with the Carolina Hurricanes a couple years ago. And Ferentz runs right over the top of Matthias Olin. This puck is still in the Vancouver zone. Calgary using the physical part of their game. May has it underneath them, lost it, and it's swept just wide by Iginla. Boy, for the Calgary Flames, the right guy got control of that puck.
Matthias Olin was late getting back into the play because of that. We've mentioned the fact that Olin is against Iginla this entire series. And just for a couple of seconds, Iginla got lone in front of the net. Matthias Olin didn't get there in time. Iginla just missed.
Jovanovski flips it ahead. It's knocked down center ice. Saprikin wanted to go rink wide with it, but it's ruled a hand pass by the linesman.
Jarome Iginla played 32 minutes and 30 seconds. Matthias Olin played 40 minutes. He had 64 shifts in the game.
Wow.
Matthias Olin. That's a lot of shuttling back and forth. That would make me tired just going on and off the ice.
64 times.
That's incredible.
Here's Sanderson. Sanderson looking to the front of the net, still controls. Drops it back. As I mentioned, Sanderson a goal and an assist in that Game 6 victory after going pointless in the first 5 games. Sean Donovan leaves it off now. Jordan Leopold, the defenseman, jumps into the rush, top of the circle, snaps a shot. It was blocked wide of Auld. Now Nieminen leaves it on the boards. Donovan tried to go back out to the point, and Leopold out at center ice has to regain control.
This Calgary defense is a real good group, but we mentioned the fact that 2 of their best guys, especially defensively, are not there for them. So guys like Leopold are really going to have to toe the load for the most part offensively. Jordan Leopold is very capable. He's still a very young man and still learning the game, but he's had a terrific season for them. I have a feeling in a game like this, the defensemen for both teams are going to make a huge difference offensively.
Denny Gauthier, who wears number 3, Tony Libman, who wears number 32 for the Calgary Flames, did not even make the trip. Both of those guys, if healthy, would certainly be in the lineup.
With those guys, their 6 guys are better than most teams in the National Hockey League, and nobody even really knows their defensive core lineup here in Calgary.
Nice move by Jelena off the boards. He beats Morrison, cuts to the front of the net, and it's
Good hit.
Then he is knocked down by Salo, and the puck covered by Auld. That's what you want your defense to do in front of your net.
There's supposed to be a brick wall up in front of your goaltender, and I think Martin Jelena ran straight into that brick wall. Good work in the corners. This is what Calgary does well. Now watch Jelena. He comes in, he leans in. Oh, he came a distant second in that one-on-one confrontation. Salo, he was ready. That's perfect form there. If you're looking for a way that you should hit, you get down low, just explode with the legs, and he popped them.
Lead pass for Ruchinski, just out of his reach. Ruchinski picked up at the trade deadline, and here he comes up the left side. He blasts a shot. Save made by Kiprasov. It comes back to Ruchinski. Ruchinski sends it out to the far point, and it's teed up by Jovanovski, and a save by Kiprasov.
Those are the types of plays that Vancouver's really good about, especially when Eddie Jovanovski is out there, what he is right now. He gets open in the zone. He'll split way to the far side like he just did, and he creates a lot of offense because of that.
There is Dave Lowry, who would love to still be playing. His wife took part in her 3rd Boston Marathon earlier this weekend. Elaine just missed her goal of 3.5 hours.
Wow. I'd have trouble with the directions. Never mind the willpower and the stamina and all that in order to run a marathon.
The only direction you know is you can't stop for 26 miles. That's
well, it's a marathon being in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
You know, Dave Lowry would love to be playing and is helping out with this coaching staff behind the bench. Of course, he has a lot of playoff experience. One of those kind of guys that would certainly epitomize a Daryl Sutter team.
Absolutely. He does have a lot of experience. The leadership and just having guys like that around make a huge difference. And I think it was a great idea for Sutter to put him on the bench and add an extra guy back there to help point things out to players and certainly offer encouragement too.
Yeah, this first period comes to an end.
This guy is one of the best goal scorers in the National Hockey League. That's why we're paying so much attention to his ice time. You see what he's done so far in this first period. Those numbers will go up exponentially. He will start to get double shifted. Matthias Olin is his shadow. 8 of 10 even strength shifts so far in this game, and that will continue also.
Jarome Iginla, 41 goals this year, a 3-way tie for the Rocket Richard Trophy, a trophy that Iginla won earlier in his career back in 2002 when he also won the Art Ross as the leading scorer in the league, and the Pearson Award, which is the player selection of Player of the Year. Already some great years for Jarome Iginla, and many more to come if he stays healthy. Calgary Flames bounce it into the Canucks zone. Here is Malik with it, slides it across Jovanovski. Jovanovski, number 55 for the Vancouver Canucks. Lead pass, Daniel Sedin. on a line with his twin brother Henrik and this guy Trevor Linden, who puts a big hit on. But the Flames come out with it. Back the other way comes Conroy. Cuts to the outside. Backhand shot, and it sails wide of the glove of Alex Auld. Auld in just his third ever playoff start. He lost us the starter in Game 5 2-1, but came back with a huge win in Game 6 in Calgary, despite giving up the 4 goals. And now here is Rucinski deep for the Vancouver Canucks as they try to get something in the Flame zone. Olin from the point holds it in. Olin slides it back along the boards behind Kiprasov, and the puck rolls all the way out center ice.
The managements for both teams are probably pretty happy that it's still a 0-0 game. I just had a feeling, for whatever reason, coming into this game, I didn't see it as a 1-0 game. I thought there would probably be 3, 4, 5 goals at least scored in this game. We certainly still have time.
Oh, yeah.
But the complexion of the game looks different than what I expected. It has become careful now. Early on, we saw Calgary come out and running around, and they were effective because that's what they do best. Vancouver sometimes got their puck control going in the first period, but not a lot of it. So I think you'd have to give a slight advantage to Calgary in that first period, but bottom line still zip.
Here is Cook, shoved hard to the boards. We asked the question at the top of the show, Brian, with the atmosphere in this building, although it's rather subdued right now, as this shot is deflected in wide of Kiprasov. Is home ice an advantage in Game 7? And some of the conversation up here in the press box, though, is the longer the game stays like this, scoreless or tied, advantage swings to the Calgary Flames. More pressure on that home team, perhaps, to perform for these crowds that have such an expectation.
Well, maybe. I mean, I agree with that partly, but for Calgary right now, obviously they're successful because they've kept the crowd out of it. But the crowd is always there. It's still a 0-0 game. And as soon as something good happens, or even when they feel like their team just needs it, this crowd will be the 7th player out there.
Here is Niemanen handling the puck. Waits, tries to drive a shot. Picked up, and a glove save by Auld. Off the stick of Warner. Scoreless so far. Still plenty of time left here in this second period. Just 2.5 minutes into it. And Suprikin rolls it back into the Canucks zone. Jovanovski there, and it's deflected over the glass. And a souvenir for a lucky fan here is
Eddie Jovanovski taking exception to little stuff afterwards. Merrick Malik also getting into the face of Stefan Yell. Stefan Yell, they've really worked over. Yell missed a couple of games in this series with a bad hip. They run into hard and often whenever they can. Merrick Malik is almost twice the size of Stefan Yell. Malik is a huge man. He packs about 220 pounds. He's 6'5". Stefan Yell is a very important player for the Calgary Flames in a defensive aspect and in what they're going to do right now, faceoffs. And Calgary struggles in that department in faceoffs.
You never know about injuries in the playoffs. It's one of two things, upper body or lower body. Stefan Yell is hurting. His Monador's shot is blocked, but Daniel Sedin will not get the break it looks like he might get. Now here is Yell again, snapping it in. Daniel Sedin for the Canucks, slides it across. Here's Linden, poked away by Monador. Now Suprikin hands it off for Yell. Yell going wide, into the glass there by Jovanovski. Henrik Sedin for the Canucks trying to clear it. And his brother Daniel on the far side. Dumps it back now deep into the Flame zone. Here is Monador back to get it. Takes the hit, but made the play around to Suprikin. And Suprikin's pass broken up by Rucinski. He dumps it back in offside at the Calgary blue line. And there is a guy playing in his first ever playoff game, and it's a Game 7. And Steve Monador, who hails from Vancouver, wearing a Calgary sweater, was talking about it this morning. He said, you know what, I'd rather play my first game in a Game 7. Then there's no worry about will I have the intensity, will I have to manufacture anything. It's already there. It's built into this series.
Well, he did a good job on himself there. I don't believe that for a minute. He would rather have gotten into Game 1. I don't believe that. That's the way he's working on himself psychologically.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? All afternoon he couldn't sleep. He's thinking, my God, this is Game 7. It's my first time. Well, he's doing fine so far.
Yes, he is. As you mentioned, Brian, so many of these big Calgary defensemen played so many minutes in that triple overtime Game 6. It was blocked in front here by the Canucks defense, and now Sopel starts it back. He's got Rucinski on the left side. Jabarov coming into the zone as well. And now here's Conroy with it for the Flames. Plays it off the boards, deflected up in the air. Canucks knock it down. Route 2 with a chance. Left hand saved by Kiprasov.
For the top, sorry, Dave, for the top 3 guys on defense in Calgary, this is about their Game 8.
There's a glove save by Auld. with Jelena coming up the left wing side.
That's Brendan Morrison. He may very well be the best Vancouver Canuck in this series. Marcus Naslund has more points, but Brendan Morrison has done a terrific job in these playoffs for the Canucks.
Volkanovsky with it now, and he plays it ahead, deflects now to Cook. Cook plays it ahead, and Morrison lost his footing, but deflects it deep into the flame zone. Kiprusoff left it there. Here is Warner with it, being forced back by the forechecking of Matt Cook. And Christoph Oliwa, number 33, was there for the Flames. It is sent down the ice. And trying to get there is Merrick Malik, but good hustle by Donovan to negate the icing. And the puck is cleared back to center ice. Naslund gets a stick on it, bounces away, and the play just offside. Sallow, long shot in the glove of Kiprusoff. Comes back to the line. Sallow again, and this time blockered aside by the Calgary goaltender. Commodore hammers it up the boards out to center ice. And the Canucks look to come right back. Henrik Sedin dumps it deep. Here is Monador, plays it off the boards, and Nieminen just does squeeze it out to center ice.
That was a heck of a play by Montador. Stopped, changed direction, got the puck out of the zone. Very efficient.
Anderson to the front of the net, just looking for a redirection. It slid wide off the boards, and here's Nieminen back the other way now for Calgary. Now around the boards, held in on the far side by Conroy, but it's poked away and out to center ice. Here is Allen, back behind his own net. Sounds like the crowd here chanting Kiprusoff, Kiprusoff, just trying to subliminally get under the skin of the opposing goaltender. Brendan Morrison has been a hero throughout his hockey life. Game 6, game-winning goal in triple overtime. 1996 scored the NCAA championship clinching goal in overtime while at Michigan playing for Red Berenson. And his mom and dad, Ron and Debbie, watched that triple overtime thriller in Budapest, Hungary. And I said to him, are they on vacation? He said, no, they've lived over there for about 4 years. His dad, Ron, has a job with a company called Atoll Structures, a Calgary-based company. And he said they're 9 hours ahead of time, so the parents have to set the alarm in order to be awake. 4:30 in the morning, Hungary time, this game started. And the Vancouver Canucks trying to ratchet up the offense a little bit. And Kiprusoff, that puck was going wide, Brian, but he couldn't take any chances.
Well, Vancouver comes out a little hungry for this shift, and it was Mike Keane who was going into the paint there. They started from behind the net. So many plays in the National Hockey League anymore start from behind the net. It's such a difficult thing for goaltenders to keep track of what's happening. When it circles in behind, they have to slide post to post, but it's the timing of how that happens that makes all the difference. Southwest Airlines goal cam shows you how difficult it can be for the goaltender. Kiprusoff diving on that one. Mike Keane was the guy lurking around for the Canucks.
Lombardi and Linden. Linden with the experience wins the draw. Sallow sends it toward the net. It hits a skate. And Kiprusoff has it covered as Brad May was right in the office of Mika Kiprusoff.
Both of these teams at certain times in the series have been really good at getting in the kitchen of the opposing goaltender. This is well done by Brad May. I mean, he gets a little luck. That shot's going wide. It hits him in the back of the leg. And Brad May has good position on Jordan Leopold, number 4 in white. The defenseman's got to be on the backside between the goaltender and that guy in the blue jersey. Leopold wasn't, and he was lucky nothing bad happened.
Yell takes another hit from Linden here. Sallow with a shot that was blocked in front. That was Yell that got in front of that puck. Now Regier gets a skate on it. Linden will drop it back inside the Flame zone. And the Flames had nobody to pass through, and it's up ahead now. Here is Jelena getting there using his speed. Arkan Jelena, but it rolls off his stick, and Ruutu clears it down wide of Kiprusoff, and an icing call here.
Every year in every series, there are always players that step through the floor and get more recognition. And Robin Regier has been one of those guys for the Calgary Flames. He has done an absolutely fabulous job. 43 minutes and 21 seconds. That's the equivalent of playing 2 games in 1. That's what he did in Game 6. He plays in all these different situations. He plays an extremely physical game. He is the cornerstone of this D right now for the Calgary Flames.
He was the 19th player picked overall back in 1998. Remember when Pierre Lacroix had those 3 first-round picks and ended up coming to the Calgary Flames in the deal that sent Theo Fleury.
And then he had a very serious car accident,
Yes,
and they wondered if he'd ever have a career in the National Hockey League again. So there's a long story and a great story of recovery for Robin Laguerre.
Morrison pushes ahead. Merrick Malik, the big defenseman, is the first one in the zone. Here is Morrison, wanted to dump it out in front. Naslund couldn't get a stick on it. Could be a break here now for the Flames. Donovan up the right side against Jovanovski. They continue to battle. The puck goes in wide. Centering attempt here. It's in the glove of Alex Auld, and he hangs on as Morrison continues to joust with Billy Niemanen. Merrick Malik with a glove in the face.
Merrick Malik was up the ice, but Eddie Jovanovski was the lone defenseman back. And one of the many things that makes this guy a really good defenseman is his speed and the ability to sense danger. He's at the top of the screen on the left. He's got the angle on him. Even though Donovan's a fast skater, it's the way that Jovanovski played it. He comes back, he's measuring. So I know you want to go into the middle. And then right there in the crunch time, he knew when to play the puck at the beginning, then when to play the stick, and he never let the guy get a shot off. Excellent stuff there by Eddie Jovanovski.
Face off. Neither team controls. Yes, the Canucks have it now as Chabarov won it back to Olin. Ahead to Chabarov. And he dumps it off the boards into the Flame zone. Monador slides it across. Now Commodore out to center ice. And that puck into the Vancouver bench and out of play.
Jerome McGinley scored the first goal of the game 12 times this year. That's the most in the National Hockey League. He's their go-to guy in every situation. That doesn't surprise me. That's a great stat. It's an excellent number for him. There's so many things you could talk about offensively for him, but he's really a complete package, because when he comes out, he is the true definition of a power forward, which means you come out and you pound people, you make your own space, you don't rely on other people just to get you the puck so you can be a goal scorer. Jerome McGinley can look after himself in every facet of the game.
And is there a nicer and more accommodating young man, considering the pressure of a Game 7? He took his time with every member of the media that had a question this morning and answered with a smile.
He is just absolutely outstanding. The future of the NHL is in terrific hands with young stars like Jerome McGinley.
McGinley tried to make a play that time of the Vancouver zone. Now Sopel slides it ahead. Cook has it bounce off his skate. We really haven't seen an odd man break yet, Brian, as this game is a little bit more carefully played to this point than any of the previous 6.
Usually what happens, and we saw it early on, there's a lot of pressure. Teams run at each other early. If it causes cracks in the armor and he gets scoring chances, then it continues. It didn't, so things get careful again, and that's the stage we're at right now.
Yell deflects it in deep. Auld decides he better cover this up. Warner's shot was blocked. This is just the third Game 7 for Marcus Naslund in his great career as this play whistled down offside.
One of the interesting things about Marcus Naslund, too, his first couple of years in the league, he kind of floundered around and played on different teams. When he came out here to Vancouver, he found a home. But interestingly enough, when he had his first child, he said that's what really settled him down. He used to be such a going concern and so nervous and living the game of hockey all the time that he said it was detrimental to him now that he looks back. When he had his first child, he realized there are other things in life. Hockey was hockey, home life was home life, and ever since then, he's never looked back. Fabulous career, especially the last 4 or 5 years.
3 straight 40-goal seasons until he dropped down to 35 goals this year. Just remarkably consistent. He came to Vancouver from Pittsburgh for a guy named Alex Stoyanov. That's how little regard, and I'm not putting Stoyanov down, but I mean, you wouldn't even know who he is. And here's Marcus Naslund, one of the premier players in the National Hockey League, but he has become that. And McGinley has to step in and take a draw, and he wins the faceoff against Trevor Linden, who's trying to get in there and put on another hit on the Calgary defense, and he got through to Regier. As the puck comes to center ice, Sopel now for Vancouver. Approaching the halfway mark of this second period, Game 7. A win for the Vancouver Canucks, and they will take on the San Jose Sharks in round 2. A win for Calgary. They take on the Detroit Red Wings, and Oleg Saprykin looked like
got
a leg-to-leg collision.
Yeah, absolutely. That left leg, well, it looks like he's okay now. Sometimes it just goes numb for a bit. Yeah, now he's okay. But he really got spun around right at the blue line. I think it was Brent Sopel that got a piece of him. Forwards, one of the toughest jobs that they have is when the puck comes around the boards in their zone, they have to stand in there even if they know an opposition player is coming and get it out. He did. That was Brent Sopel that got him. It looked like it might have been a leg-on-leg collision. There was no penalty on the play, and I don't think it really deserved one. And we'll see if Saprikan comes back. But he looked like he was okay at the end as he was getting to the bench.
Got to admire him just for bouncing up the way he did.
Yep.
Did not want to show any injury at all. Jovanovski's shot, and Kiprasov saw that all the way. And this puck skips by Malik all the way back into the Canucks zone. Jovanovski has it back there, hands it off now. Trevor Linden back to Jovanovski. Trevor Linden now on a line with Mike Keane and Brad May. As the Canucks nearly turned it over, but it comes right back. Vancouver has it. As Keane dumps it in deep. Did he get to the red line? They say no. Icing? Yes, touch first by the Calgary Flames. Brian, talking with some of the Vancouver media that have followed this whole series, they said, with all due respect to Mika Kiprasov, he has not made many spectacular saves in this series, and you see that he has not had a lot of traffic in front of him, hasn't had to deal with screens. And the only time Vancouver's had any success is when they have gotten traffic in front of Kiprasov, but for the most part, he has seen the shots in this series, and as we just showed you, he certainly has seen the shots so far tonight. Ruchinski snaps the shot that's over the head of Kiprasov. Jabarov hit along the boards by Conroy, and enough to draw a penalty. I thought maybe he eased up, but the official at center ice is going to call that a cross check.
Boy, they're really being tough on the hits along the wall. Jerome McGinley's pleading the case for Craig Conroy.
Second power play for the Canucks here in this game. 0 for 1, obviously. It is scoreless. Dave Strader, Brian Engblom, and the rest of our ESPN2 crew. And again, Vancouver with a win would open up in San Jose. A Calgary win, and they will open up against Detroit at Joe Louis Arena. Here is Naslund, waits, hands it off deep for Brendan Morrison, back to Naslund from an angle. His shot blocked up on the glass. Now Ruchinski picks it up. Vancouver likes to operate their power play from in deep and work it out to the front of the net. Here is Naslund with it, sends it back in deep. Morrison behind the net looking in front. Jovanovski a shot. Did that get through, or was it blocked?
I think it was blocked in front.
It was Regeer that was set up, the defenseman. Ruchinski goes back to the line. Here's Jovanovski with it. Hands it off Ruchinski. Moves to the faceoff dot. Naslund tries to slide it in front. Kiprasov gets the whistle, and it's just outside the goal line.
Even with Marcus Naslund out there, I still think the best part of the power play for the Vancouver Canucks comes from the back end. A lot of times it's Ed Jovanovski. And look at the penetration Jovanovski had. I think that hit the defenseman in front. Was it Regeer who came across? That was just luck, because Jovanovski wants to take another look at it too. He knows that far side was open. He knows the pass was right. The shot selection was right. Just a little bit of bad luck. I think it hit the pants of Regeer.
Face-off win by the Flames. That allows Ferrin some room to clear it off the glass and down the ice. Here's Alex Auld with it.
When you have speed from the back end and you have talent, and you move the puck from deep back out to the blue line, which Vancouver does extremely well, then you get scoring chances like that. And it's not always just Eddie Jovanovski. It can be Sopel and the other guys too.
Take a look at the up and down power play from Mark Crawford, who's looking very much like he wants to get to the top of Barry Melrose's best dressed coaching list with that look tonight. Power play much better in the first 3 games. But how about the decision Mark Crawford made to go with Alex Auld? I mean, when Cloutier got hurt earlier in this series, Johan Hedberg was the guy. But as we heard from Ray Ferraro, who saw a lot of the games out here in Western Canada, Mark Crawford not a big fan of Johan Hedberg, so it was Alex Auld that got the call in Game 5, who had never started a playoff game. Daniel Sedin slides it low. Sanderson has it back out to Daniel Sedin. Now to Olin. On the far side, Sopel taking a look. Now Henrik Sedin plays it off the back of the net. Still has it. Hands it off to his brother Daniel. Time winding down on his power play. Final 15 seconds for the Canucks. Daniel Sedin to Henrik, back to the front of the net. And Kiprasov has the pad right on the goal line. They continue to jam away at it, but the Canucks could not get it in. Here's Sanderson with a chance. That hit off of Warner and goes wide. Conroy getting set to come out of the box. Here's Sopel with it. Hands it off. Daniel Sedin's pass was blocked. Here's Conroy out of the box. And it's taken now by Lombardi. He sends it to Conroy at center ice. Conroy looking across, has a man open. It's McGinley. He scores! Jerome McGinley, 1-0 Flames.
What a turn of events. What a turn of events. After a great scoring chance for the Vancouver Canucks on the power play, they get a little bit sleepy, thinking, okay, well, we didn't score. Then the guy comes out of the box. It's Conroy, number 22, gets the puck here. And Vancouver has some guys go for a change on the right side of the ice. And by the time they recover, they actually can't recover. A terrific heads-up play by Conroy, who's usually the guy feeding number 12 in white, and this guy doesn't miss very often. That's why he's their bread and butter guy, the best scorer on their team. He comes through in the clutch. Jarome Iginla.
Iginla's 4th goal of this series, his 5th career playoff goal.
That was not a heads-up play by Vancouver. I mean, you just can't make mistakes like this. On the left side of the ice here comes Olin, comes over to do his job. Nobody filled in. Look at Iginla, and everybody is chasing. Jovanovski had headed to the bench, and I believe it was Sopel that was coming out, and a lot of ground to cover for Sopel. Matthias Olin moved over, assuming somebody was in the middle. Nobody was, except Jarome Iginla.
That's why teams pay so much attention to Jarome Iginla. He got his first great chance, and he buried it. And what a play by Conroy, because when he came out of the box, if he had stayed on the other side of the red line, it would have been a 2-line pass. So he came back to give Lombardi an option.
Absolutely. And Vancouver just didn't sort it out. They had enough guys back in the neutral zone. They didn't read it right. They didn't read the speed.
Ooh, a penalty coming here. Cook ran into the goaltender Kiprasov. And boy, this could really be compounded now, because the Calgary Flames, with a 1-0 lead with momentum, now have a power play.
There are a lot of key points in hockey games, and it's not always at the end of a game. This was just not very smart by Cook. That's not incidental contact. He went out of his way to make some contact with the goaltender. What Cook does well is he stirs up trouble, but you have to do it the right way. This is no time after they just got scored on to take a penalty like that.
Face-off win by the Flames. Regier holds it in. Hands it off for Iginla. Iginla battling. Getting some help there from Craig Conroy. Conroy and Lombardi assisting on the goal by Iginla. Off the boards now, it comes to Leopold. Now Martin Shelina sets it up on the far side. Shelina at the face-off dot. Hands it off deep now for Iginla. Jarome Iginla spins to the face-off circle, still has it hooked off of his stick, and all forced to make a save there. And Robin Regier, who had moved in.
Yeah, interesting. Robin Regier very pointedly moved in from the point and went to the front of the net and stayed there. He's a big body in front. Craig Conroy, the center for Calgary, moved back on the point. He has his skill, he has his shot. They wanted the big body in Regier in front, and it also allowed Jarome Iginla some extra room to try to drive the net, which is exactly what he tried to do.
Leopold drives it off the boards behind all, up the far side. Brian Allen gets there. Number 5 for the Canucks. Hands it off for Ruchinski, and Ruchinski dumps it all the way back down the ice. Here is Kiprasov to play it, and he calmly hands it off. Back comes Regier. You see the time remaining on the power play, 45 seconds. Lombardi into the zone, sends it deep. Chuck Kovacic, number 7. Oh, did he take a hit there from Salo? And the puck recovered by the shorthanded Canucks, but not cleared out of the zone. Here's Saprikin. Boy, he is hit again. I was going to say this is his first shift after that leg-to-leg hit, and good to see him back on the ice.
Salo's been one of the biggest hitters in this game.
He has been, yeah.
A couple of guys.
Now Lombardi. Jumped over the stick of Saprikin, and Trevor Linden able to clear it all the way down the ice. Kiprasov immediately whips it ahead to Monador. Monador lead pass, Yell in stride. He is shoved to the boards now by Sopel, number 3 for Vancouver, as the power play coming to an end. Cook is out of the box. Here is Yell behind the net. And Morrison steals for the Canucks, starts it back the other way. Here is Brendan Morrison. Morrison into the zone, hands it off. Trevor Linden with a drive. Kiprasov the save, and he hangs on. Well, Iginla has just scored his 4th goal of the series, and he has scored a goal in each of the 3 wins. And the team that scores first in Game 7 Stanley Cup history has gone on to win 70%. So
momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I heard you talking to the guys on ESPN News previewing this Game 7, and they were asking about momentum, I think, overall in the series, and you made the point it's the momentum that's created here in this Game 7, and Calgary's done a good job of it so far. Morrison with a shot, Kiprasov the save again on that angle from that distance, able to see it all the way.
I think it's easier for Calgary to create their own momentum because they're a very basic team. They're a dump and chase team. They're a speed team. They're a forecheck team. That's a lot easier to do than the puck possession game that Vancouver would like to create. And Calgary is obviously out there trying to keep them from doing that. So of the two styles, it's easier for Calgary to establish their game.
Leopold screen shot did not get through. That was Iginla looking for the deflection. Here is Yell with it now, hands it off. Yell and a backhand shot. He had a great chance there, and all using that size to keep it at 1-0. Jovanovski clears it out to center ice. Artem Chubarov dumps it in. Did he get to the center ice red line? Apparently he did. They waved off the icing. And now Leopold for the Flames dumps it back the other way. Just over 3 minutes remaining here in the second period of this Game 7. 1-0 Calgary. If the Flames win, they get the Detroit Red Wings. They'll open up at Joe Louis Arena later this week. If the Canucks can come back and win, they'll open on the road in San Jose. Route to a steal. Shot was blocked. That was the defenseman Commodore, and he is hurt. And then a slashing penalty.
Montador gave the puck up. Commodore helped bail him out, but he went down, and Commodore blocked that shot, I think, with the side of his leg.
Yeah,
Montador was recovering. Number 5 right there. That's where he turned it over. And then the slash, that's what he got called for. Yeah, Commodore, the other door. There's two doors out there. It was the second door that laid down there and got hit in the side of the leg. It looks like he's okay. But two things went wrong there for Steve Montador. Copped the puck up and then took a slashing penalty trying to recover. So a big chance here for Vancouver in the power play.
Face-off controlled though by the Flames. Ferentz around the boards. Conroy able to chop it past Brent Sopel back into the Canucks end.
Those two guys are out there. You have to get through the front door and the back door if Vancouver's going to have any success. They all got through one that last time.
Here is Olin. Up on the dasher along the boards behind Kiprusoff. Now it's Daniel Sedin. Trying to walk out toward the line. Hands it off for his brother Henrik. The two Sedins out there along with Jeff Sanderson. Sopel is out at the point. Olin on the far side. Here's a half pass, half shot. Sanderson couldn't get a stick on it. Sopel, good job to hold it in for the Canucks. Now it's batted away. And Henrik Sedin roughed up there by Rhett Warner. Sanderson sends it back to the line. Sopel now to Olin. Olin hangs onto it. Sends it back. Sopel one-timer. Broke his stick. The stick flying up in the air and hit up on the netting.
That was a busted stick, all right. You see how active the defensemen are for Vancouver? I talked about Jovanovski before, but this was Sopel and Olin this time. Really good combination. All of these guys really move around. They're willing to go all the way to the net. They'll go from one board to the other. They move the puck around, and there goes woo, 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 woo. Half the stick. Helicoptered.
Oh, wow.
Right out of view.
Minute 50 remaining here in the period. 1:05 left in the Vancouver power play. And the Flames again, another face-off win. They've done a great job on these defensive zone draws.
They've been really good in this game, actually, and they've struggled in the face-off department throughout this series.
Brendan Morrison on the far side now for Jovanovski. Jovanovski pressured by Clark, able to get it. There it is. Morrison in front. And Naslund. Boy, Morrison saw it just about when you did, Brian.
Sorry, it must be Game 7. it just comes out.
Absolutely.
He was there. Naslund was there.
Here is Naslund again, top of the circle, sets it up for Chinsky. It bounces off his stick. And back comes Nielsen the other way. The former Florida Panther trying to make something happen. Now he decides just to kill some time. Smart play. Ferentz will just dump it right in on Auld, and he hangs onto it.
Marcus Naslund gets to the front of the net. The pass by Morrison. And was it Stefan Yell's stick at the last second?
Yeah, I believe
That's
so.
the kind of desperation that I talked about. Stefan Yell, a terrific defensive player, robbed Marcus Naslund by a diving play.
Face-off win, and that time in the offensive zone, Iginla's shot was blocked. That was a clean win back to Iginla. Now Ferentz able to win his battle. Clears it along the board. Sopel holding it in for the Canucks. 45 seconds remaining now in this second period. Calgary with a 1-0 lead. Montador is out of the box. Now Linden tries to play it back up the boards. Keane sets it up for Sopel. Sopel good. Fake now. Sets it up on the far side. Loose in front of the net. Kiprusoff is down. Another penalty coming.
Can you believe it?
And the puck ends up over the goal line, but the net is off. And the Flames desperately trying to get the Vancouver players off of their fallen goaltender.
We talked about Vancouver needing traffic in front of Kiprusoff. They had it to a T there. The puck came, the guys were there, it went off a couple of skates. The Vancouver players couldn't get it from their feet onto their sticks. It starts with Sopel. Look at the two guys in front. You got it, I got it. Finally, Mike Keane got the second shot at it. He couldn't quite get it airborne enough. Mika Kiprasov will give you a good idea of what it was like. It amazes me, those goaltenders, as you see the full-on scrum that happens afterwards, how these guys maintain their position on ice. I know it's not as slippery at the end of the period as it is at the beginning, but the downward pressure that they have to have on their legs just to keep from being pushed into the nets sometimes just amazes me. That was a big save by Mika Kiprasov. A little bit of luck that Mike Keane couldn't get the handle on it right away, but he didn't need a second chance. Kiprasov, I mean.
Mike Keane tried to jam that puck in. We saw a play that Nikolai Khabibulin made in the series clincher for Tampa Bay, a save he made on Alexei Yashin right on the doorstep, and we brought up the same point. I was working that night with Denny Potvin talking about the leg strength of the goalies when that stick and the puck are jammed like that, and they hold their ground. Rhett Warrener in the box. Power play continues now for Vancouver. Here is Naslund. Naslund snaps a shot, save, Kiprasov, and there was plenty of traffic.
That was perfect. That was really good execution. This team is good. They moved it from Jovanovski to Marcus Naslund. Percentage of goals on the power play, you see what this team is capable of. In these playoffs, they have been really good, and you can see that they have their offensive confidence. It hasn't paid off for them for going to the back of the net, but they've created 4 or 5 really good scoring chances and a ton of possession time. It's slowly coming for Vancouver. But it's not about effort in Game 7s, it's about results.
Well, this is where the Vancouver Canucks really miss Todd Bertuzzi, of course suspended for the rest of the season playoffs for his hit on Steve Moore.
And this has become a different team without Bertuzzi.
Yeah, absolutely.
Out of necessity.
Lead pass Salo. Did he get it into the zone? No, he did not. The puck sat on the blue line. You must bring it all the way across that blue line to have entered the zone. Well, the Vancouver Canucks during the regular season, that doesn't look like an impressive record, but in this day and age, trailing after 2 periods to come back and get 7 wins and 8 ties. I mean, they are a dangerous team. It is right now just a 1-goal deficit, and that looks like what it will be as this second period comes to an end.
Matthias Ohlund in the matchup against Jerome Iginla. Iginla is now +6 in the series. Matthias Ohlund is -7. That is not a good matchup for Vancouver at this point, and it may be too late to do anything about it. Jerome Iginla is a load to handle. There is no doubt about it. He has come through for the Flames big in this series.
Keep in mind, Rhett Warrener still in the penalty box to start this 3rd period, so power play for the Vancouver Canucks. And they need something. They are down 1-0. Keep in mind, if the Calgary Flames hang on and win, they get the Detroit Red Wings in round number 2. And it will be San Jose taking on Colorado. But if the Vancouver Canucks can win this, it'll be Vancouver opening up in San Jose, and you'll have Detroit and Colorado meeting in the 2nd round. So a lot of people around the National Hockey League are watching with great interest what happens in this 3rd period.
Yeah, great prizes for you if you get to live and go on, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
It just gets worse. Power plays in this series, you see the results. The Canucks have had much more success than Calgary has. They need it now.
Here is Salo with a fresh sheet of ice out here to start this 3rd period. Regier hit hard by Morrison. And now the puck backhanded all the way down the ice. Jordan Leopold doing a nice job. Again, this Calgary defense without Denny Gauthier and without Tony Lidman. 2 of their top 6 defensemen out with injuries. Didn't even make the trip. Now Brendan Morrison, the Game 6 hero, to Daniel Sedin. Back in deep behind the net. Now here is Naslund. Wraps it around Matthias Ohlund at the far side. Ohlund hands it back down to Naslund. Here's Naslund, snaps a shot, save, Kiprasov, rebound at the side of the net. Daniel Sedin plays it to the corner. Now Naslund takes over there. Naslund had it knocked away, and Marcus Nielsen able to clear.
Good work
for the Calgary Flames.
Good work along the boards. Really good work by Commodore. That was on the side of the net. When that rebound popped out, it was number 2 in white that jumped over there to prevent any second shot.
Here was Sanderson, cuts to the center of the ice. And a bouncing puck finally recovered by the Flames. And it's cleared back the other way. Rhett Warrener is out of the box. So the Calgary penalty killers, led by Mika Kiprasov in goal, do the job.
Big. That's huge.
Here's a turnover, steal shot, a save by Auld. Now John Donovan using that big body, gets a shot away. Auld covers that up. with Lombardi jamming away at it.
Well, the second period, the only team to score a goal in this game so far, they finally got one. Craig Conroy does a great job of finding Jerome McGinley, who had just knifed through the pack in the neutral zone, scored the only goal of the game. Stefan Yell with a terrific defensive play, diving back to knock that puck away. And in the scrum at the end of the second period, where Mika Kiprusoff did a terrific job of holding those legs out, the whistle sounded just in time before that puck went over the line and the net was knocked off.
That would have been an interesting call, both on Salo drives a shot deflected by Kiprusoff. Not only with the whistle blowing, but with that puck crossing the line and the net popping off. We have seen the video review be a big factor here in these Stanley Cup playoffs so far.
Well, we're in the third period of Game 7, critical period. Third period's been pretty good to Mika Kiprusoff, and he's been good to them. Those are outstanding numbers. He's going to be under siege, I would assume, especially if his team takes any more power plays. Vancouver is not going to go away lightly, and as the game goes on, especially with their active defense, they will start throwing the kitchen sink at Mika Kiprusoff.
Well, the last 4 times that Kiprusoff this season, Brian, gave up 4 or more goals. In the next game, he gave up only 1 and came out victorious. So he is holding to that formula again, giving up 5 in the triple overtime loss, and he has not given up a goal yet here, and we're early in the third.
Good point. I mean, that's a great thing for a goalie to have, the ability to recover, put things behind you. All the great goaltenders have them. In the playoffs, when you play series, you absolutely have to do that. That's an outstanding statistic there for Kiprusoff.
Here's Iginla now, and Oland again out there on the ice with him, just knocked it away, and the play is offside at the Vancouver blue line.
Yeah, and it looked like I thought he said something to Oland for a second. But, I mean, Jerome McGinley is so fast. Matthias Oland's got good movement. But this guy is really just so tough to handle. He was flying through that neutral zone again. All he needed to do was just try to tip it by Matthias Oland on one side. It's an all or nothing play for the defenseman. The defenseman can't make a mistake in a defensive situation like that. And Iginla, the forward, he can gamble a little bit. And if it works, hey, he looks like a hero and a genius. I know I sound like a defenseman saying that,
well,
but it's true. It's true. Number 12, White. I think a little word for Matthias Oland. Certainly a look back. He's been seeing him everywhere. He's probably seeing him in his sleep. But Iginla's coming out in that matchup, as we showed you. +6 for Iginla, -7 for Oland in the series.
Here is Naslund. Morrison with speed up the right side. Cuts to the middle. Shot save. Rebound. Chance. Loops in front. Morrison couldn't get a stick free. As the Flames converge in front of Kiprusoff and help out their goaltender again. Yell drives one in. Auld just collects that puck and hangs onto it.
Desperation, and it was Kobasu who came back for the Flames and absolutely saved the goal for them. Excellent speed on the attack by Morrison, who gets it through the net. Watch 7 White right here in front of the net. That is outstanding coverage by Kobasu. Southwest Airlines goal cam will give you an idea what it looked like from the goaltender's world. He was down and out. If there was a rebound, if a black stick can get on that, it's in the net, but they couldn't get it.
Now it's Salo. Remember, it was Vancouver's number 7, Brendan Morrison, that forced a Game 7 by scoring that overtime goal. And that time he was denied here in Game 7 by Kobasu.
The way that play started coming out of the zone was outstanding, because Morrison had so much speed coming from behind, and he had lots of momentum. I thought he was going to drive wide for a minute, but he held up short, threw it to the net, and that's one of the best scoring chances they've had in the game. Just excellent defensive work there by Kobasu.
Now it comes back. Red Warner will drive it deep into the Vancouver zone. Picked up on the far side by Jelena. Martin Jelena. Now Iginla behind the net. Oland right on him. Backhand shot. Auld has it and just gets the whistle now.
You hear that right now?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing is right.
Calgary's doing a good job. They're doing what they needed to do. Take the fans. The 7th guy on the ice is very quiet. Their team needs some momentum right now. This guy knows that. Come on, everybody, stand up. Let me hear you.
Now, what a job by Alexander Auld, 23 years of age, from Cold Lake, Alberta. There's no other kind of lakes up there, is there?
Good point. Cold Lakes and Hot Springs.
Barron stumps it across the line, and Iginla gets it in deep. As we played nearly 4 minutes of this third period, Game 7. The winner moves on to the second round, marching closer to the ultimate prize of the Stanley Cup. The loser is done for the rest of the season. Here is Ferentz around the boards. Linden on the far side. Trevor Linden protecting the puck. Hands it off now for Cook. Down deep it goes to Raczynski. And a save made. Olin trying to pick up a rebound. Centering pass off the skate of a Calgary player. Linden back to the line. Sopel has it. Trevor Linden again. Sends it across Raczynski. Sopel at the line. A screen shot. Bounced up in the air. Kiprusoff doesn't know where that puck is as the Ginlas hit into the end boards. Matthias Olin, the defenseman, has been in there for most of this shift, and he is sent to the ice by Warner, but bounces right back up. And the Flames finally able to clear.
That was really good puck movement there by the Vancouver Canucks, but still no goal, and that is the bottom line still. Calgary hanging on by their fingernails at times, but Vancouver's got to make one of these drop. They moved it from down low, back up high. I mentioned that's one of the things they do as well as anybody in the NHL. Got shots to the net, but Kiprusoff was there at the last second.
Keep in mind, Vancouver led in game 6-4-0. Calgary came back to tie it. Vancouver wins in regulation. Nothing has gone to form in this series, and one of the Calgary players was saying, you know what, maybe that's good for us, because with everything that's happened, most people still expect the Vancouver Canucks are supposed to win at home. But nothing has gone as expected in this series.
Calgary is a made-to-measure underdog team, and they're playing it perfectly.
Good hustle here by Salo to get over there and negate what would have been a chance for the Flames. It's offside at the Vancouver line.
One of the better scoring chances was Matthias Olin jumping in from the point down low. The back door, we call it, the backside. See how everybody's looking here? Even we are? Ah, see, there he was. A rebound came out. It was difficult for him to handle. It was in his legs and in his pads. He just threw it into the front of the net. You will see a lot of that from him in the remaining minutes of this game, and his teammates back on the blue line as well. They're really good at the backdoor plays.
Career high 14 goals this year in the regular season for Matthias Olin. He can be a factor offensively.
And that surprised me. I kind of lost track of that. He was tied for the top in most goals by a defenseman, Matthias Olin. I didn't know that.
Well, Donovan sends it deep for the Flames. All out to sweep it along the boards. Brett Warner holding it in. It's back along the boards behind the Vancouver goal. Salo has it there now for Brendan Morrison. Up the right side for Cook. Now hands it off to Naslund. Marcus Naslund sends it back toward the Calgary net. A collision now. Ferentz, the defenseman for Calgary, was knocked down. And the puck comes free. Sean Donovan has it. And the Flames look like a team that's comfortable in a 1-0 game.
And they're going to sit back in the neutral zone and play it very careful. They'll only send one guy in most of the time here. They will definitely not want to get two guys caught and get outnumbered attacks for Vancouver.
The previous two game 7s between Vancouver and Calgary have both gone to overtime. Calgary winning in 1989 on their way to their Stanley Cup title. And the Canucks, as we showed you there, in 94 on their way to the Stanley Cup Finals, where they lost in 7 to the New York Rangers. Lead pass for a Gimlet, just jumped over his stick.
He finds the hole so well. If that one wasn't bouncing, he had a chance to go right up the gut for a scoring chance again, because the Vancouver defense was split too wide.
Jabarov plays it on the near side, knocked out of the air. Commodore with that great hand-eye coordination. He took a hit from Keane, and no icing here.
Mike Keane's about half his size, but he really leveled Commodore one.
Did he ever? Raczynski dumps it in. Kiprusoff steers it to the board. And here is Jovanovski back to get it. Stefan Yell pressuring him. Now Jovanovski looking to carry the puck. We haven't seen him do much of this tonight. Carries it all the way into the offensive zone. Hands it off on the far side. Flames fail to clear. A shot here is blocked up over the glass and out of play.
Good stuff by Ed Jovanovski, using those wheels and coming up ice. It's starting to come from the backside. Here's speaking from the backside. Wow. Mike Keane does a good job against the much bigger Mike Commodore. And then at the end of the last play, Ruutu ended up with a shot. But the other good thing that Calgary's done is that they have deflected a lot of shots away.
Jovanovski tries to set it up for Naslund. Naslund lets it go. Score! Matt Cook picked it up, and the Canucks have tied the game.
An instant hero, Matt Cook, at least for now. The key here, Marcus Naslund will come to the front of the net going one direction, Cook the other. Naslund, you know what? They shot it at the same time. Marcus Naslund was shoveling on the backhand as Cook was taking a slap shot on the forehand. They both should get the goal.
Now Alder's out of the net. Centering pass, loose puck in the crease. All steers it aside and dumped back toward the front of the net. And it is picked up now by Naslund.
That was so close to disaster for Vancouver.
Nielsen a shot on a save there by All. Yeah, we're going to probably have to look at that replay a couple of times. They've announced it as Cook from Naslund and Jovanovski. It just depends on whose stick touched it last, but you're right, it looked like both Cook and Naslund. John Donovan lost his footing, still shoveled it toward the net.
I think the only thing they want to know is if they can get credit for 2 goals on it.
Yeah, it only counts as 1. Well, we are tied here in Game 7. Remember, the last 2 times when Vancouver and Calgary have played in Game 7, it's gone to overtime. Leopold shot off the end boards and then off the back of the net. Jovanovski was shoved, he is saying, by a Calgary player.
Let's go back and take another look. And what we'll be looking for is number 19 in black and number 24 in black simultaneously shooting. Marcus Naslund was on the backhand. There he is. See that?
Yeah,
it was Cook on the forehand moving into it and Naslund on the backhand. A little tougher to see there.
Yeah.
Bottom line is they won't care who gets credit for the goal. I believe Cook did.
Yeah, he got credit for it.
1-1.
Second goal of the series, his 7th career playoff goal. And we are tied at 1. And overtime is something that the Flames have seen in their history the last 4 times they've been in a Game 7. And this shot, that didn't miss by much on the short side of Saprikin trying to sneak one through traffic. Here is Mike Keane. Sends it in deep. Monador back to get it. Puck jumps over his stick. Now Saprikin moves it along. Conroy on the far side. And this building that you could not hear any noise moments ago has come to life.
Home ice advantage.
Here is Commodore. Lays it ahead for Iginla. Chips it now deep into the Vancouver zone. Sokol. Now it comes up the boards. Jeff Sanderson has it now for Vancouver. Sanderson plays it ahead. It's knocked away by Ferentz. Billy Niemelen tried to get it deep, could not. Now a bouncy puck picked up by Cook. He drops it off for Sanderson. Sanderson on an angle, tried to dump it back to the front, and we got a penalty coming, and it's going to go against the Canucks. A high sticking call, I believe, here, and the officials are checking the Calgary player, and it's going to be 4.
Oh, man.
4-minute penalty.
Oh, and look at Rhett Warner. I mean, his eyes are watering. A little bit shaky getting up. No wonder he get hit right on the bridge of the nose. Oh, my goodness. 10 minutes and 26 seconds to go. Number 24.
Oh, that looked like his stick may have been lifted by the other player.
Well,
he's
run into.
Yeah.
He's run into, and he's trying to absorb the check. Talk about a bad break. He's going, you're kidding me.
Boy, the word is you have to be in control of your stick under any circumstance. But boy, that is a tough break for Matt Cook.
And you know what? It's easy to see in the slow motion replay after the fact.
Oh, yeah.
The referee just saw what happened. But in looking at the replay, yeah, it is a tough break for Matt Cook. I mean, he was hit on the play.
Here's Iginla. Backhand shot, all the save. Rebound is loose. Picked up by the Flames. Leopold slides it across Regier. Regier shot to the net. Deflected just wide. That was Jelena that may have gotten a piece of that. Martin Jelena. Iginla working down low along with Craig Conroy. Conroy digs it out of the pack. Sends it out to the line. Leopold fakes a shot. Now lets it go. Tipped. Here's Iginla. He scores! Jerome Iginla picked up his own rebound. It is 2-1 Calgary.
And they'll still be on the power play. Jerome Iginla gets a rebound here. It was a terrific play by young Jordan Leopold at the blue line. He faked the shot. The defender, I believe, was Trevor Linden, did not go down, but he just got the puck through. Let's go back to the penalty that caused this whole thing. Yep. He's hit, and his stick does go out. But, I mean, in that situation, it's so hard to control your stick. Then the replay. There's Leopold doing a nice job of just getting it through. Iginla is there. He plays the initial shot, gets it around the goaltender, and stuffs it in.
Here come the shorthanded Canucks as the Flames still on the power play. Calgary Flames, who had 2 power play goals in this series coming in. They had 1 in Game 4 and 1 in Game 5, and they get a huge one here in Game 7.
No kidding. Their power play was mediocre, to say was being very generous. But Jerome McGinley doing what he does best. Gets to the front of the net, to the traffic area, being pushed down, the eye-hand coordination, the ability to know the situation, read the situation, and pay off. 2 goals for McGinley.
You mentioned Jerome McGinley getting a couple of goals for Team Canada in their gold medal game. And here he is again in a one-game elimination situation. He is a big player that comes through when he's on the biggest stage.
Excellent point. It's a one-game situation. He'd never been in a Game 7, but the best thing he'd been in was that Olympic situation. A couple of goals in that game. He comes through huge again. This kid's got destiny written all over him. Too bad he hasn't been in the playoffs more in his young career.
Absolutely. Leopold and Conroy assisting. So Conroy with 2 assists in this game. The 2 goals by Iginla. This place that was just rocking is stunned again. There's still a minute 10 left in the double minor to Cook. It comes back out now to the line. Ferentz hands it off. Commodore gives it to Conroy. Conroy, Iginla back to the line. Now it comes to Ferentz at the left point. Commodore straight away, winds up, drives a shot, redirected just wide of ball. Boy, that may have hit Iginla out of the deep slot and bounced just wide.
Wouldn't be surprised. Everything's hitting him or around him all the time.
Here is Iginla again. Sends it across Commodore. Good job just to knock that hard pass down and control it. Shallow for the Canucks. Able to get it to Keane, and he hammers it off the glass down the ice.
Now it's about execution for Calgary. They've got this lead back again. Man, did they change that momentum. Momentum had shifted them obviously to Vancouver, and the crowd was with them. To come back, have that penalty happen to Vancouver, put them into shock a little bit, and then have Jerome McGinley shock them ultimately. Now it's huge thing for Vancouver to try to come back.
Here's Ruutu with Jovanovski jumping into the play. Jovanovski with a hit on Regier. Now Donovan hands it off for Leopold. Closing seconds of the double minor to Cook. He's getting set to come out. Here is Donovan going wide. Snaps a shot, all the save. Here come the Canucks. Still plenty of time. Better than 7.5 minutes remaining here in the third period to get the goal back. As Morrison drops it back into his own zone. Sopel has to race back after it. It's taken there by Yell. Now for Chris Clark. Does a nice move to spin away from Sedin. Out to the line. Ferentz, a shot redirected high and wide. Clark gets to it first. Tries to jam it in. All just holding his ground. And now Alex Auld will cover up. Face-off controlled by the Flames. Here's Conroy with it. Trevor Linden pressuring him. And Linden comes up with a loose puck. Trevor Linden's had experience and success in Game 7s throughout his career. And here is number 16 with it now for the Vancouver Canucks. Under 7 minutes left in regulation. Calgary with a 2-1 lead. Back to the line, Matthias Olin sends it in wide. If the Flames hang on to win, it'll be Calgary and Detroit in a second round Stanley Cup playoff series. But here come the Canucks now. It's Linden, backhand shot off a skate, goes in wide. And here's Olin, the defenseman, in there deep. Back out to the line now. Sopel with a drive. That hit Olin, who was cutting to the front. And Saprikin gets to it for the Flames. And if it's Calgary and Detroit, it'll be San Jose and Colorado in the other Western Conference series. And there's Trevor Linden.
Well, if you have to go to your big horses, the guys who've been around. In Game 7s, Trevor Linden has 5 goals. That ties him for first among active players. Mark Messier is the only other player with 5 goals in a Game 7. Look at the intensity in those eyes.
Yeah. I mean, 7 Game 7s, he's got 5 goals and 5 assists. I don't think he hasn't been a factor. I believe he had both of the goals in the Game 7 Stanley Cup final loss at Madison Square Garden against the Rangers.
And I know he scored in Game 7 last year in their win against St. Louis here too.
Brandon Morrison hands it off, and a shot here by Naslund was blocked up in the air. And Kiprasov was looking for it, but the puck never got through to him. Now Yell getting some help from Nielsen. It didn't come out of the zone. Naslund sends it back in deep. And that puck over the glass and out of play. 2-1 Flames in Game 7. Well, the Calgary Flames are trying to chase the demons. They've not won a playoff series since the '89 final against Montreal. 7 straight series clinchers they've lost. In Game 7s, they've lost their last 3 in overtime. And here comes a 2-on-1 for the Flames. And a chance here, a drive save made by Olin. That was Marcus Nielsen that had Clark with him. And Nielsen was forced to shoot it.
Well, he made the right decision, absolutely. Right-hand shot. He was a little bit on the left wing. He had a terrific angle to the net. Vancouver does a bad job here of getting caught inside the zone. And look at this play develop. You can see that pretty good angle to the net there. And he was smart. Nielsen didn't go in too close. He stayed out, tried to hammer it by him, maybe through him, but it didn't get through.
Face-off win Flames for a gear shot. Save made by Auld. Boy, if that opportunity goes by Auld, that could have been the game in the series right there. Here is Sean Donovan, wins the battle for the puck. Now it is sent back in deep. Lombardi has it back there now for the Calgary Flames. Taken over by Jovanovski. Just over 5 minutes remaining here in the third period of regulation. Jerome McGinley has both goals for the Calgary Flames. The last one on the power play. An unfortunate call against Matt Cook that sent him to the box for 4 minutes. A steal, chance here, all the save. That was Conroy that had the chance for Calgary. Naslund across now for Morrison. Here come the Canucks back the other way. Boy, look at the Flames recover though quickly. Morrison has it still, sends it back along the boards behind Kiprasov, and it's cleared by Warner all the way down the ice.
Desperate hockey. We said Calgary was good at it. They're more than good at it. They've been perfect at it. In the oops department, Eddie Jovanovski had almost the ultimate oops. Comes out from behind his own net. He's looking up to make a play. Sees Conroy, tries to make a play into the middle of the ice. You're not supposed to make last-minute plays into the front of your own net. Just because of that, it can turn into disaster, and it was just a good play by Alex Auld to keep Conroy from salting this game away.
Face off. Neither team controls right away. Now it is taken over by Rhett Warner. He plays it off the boards to center ice. Picked up there by Nielsen. Nielsen and Clark. Nielsen, he puts on the brakes and lost the puck. He would have set up for a good scoring chance there. Here's Ruutu now for the Canucks, putting it in deep. Ferentz around the boards. Ruutu blocks it for Vancouver. Now here is Henrik Sedin trying to put it out in front. Henrik and Daniel Sedin along with Ruutu. And now Malik trying to hold it in, but he's run into, and the puck is cleared by Lombardi out to center ice. Matthew Lombardi making the desperate play there to clear it.
Here's Marcus Naslund out, and you know what? I don't remember you calling his name a lot with puck control in this third period. Naslund needs to have it.
Naslund sets it up for Cook. We're here at the General Motors place in Vancouver. A shot from the point, a save made by Kiprasov. He saw that all the way. And Nieminen starts it back the other way, flips it in deep. Nieminen trying to get around Salo. Makes a good play on it. Now Malik gave it away to Sean Donovan. 3.5 remaining here in the third period. Calgary trying to win their third road game of this series. Who would have thought that when this started? Now Naslund from the red line. Decides to dump it in deep. With this line at the end of a shift. So the top scoring threats for Vancouver have to sit down and rest and wait for another opportunity here with time winding down in the third period.
Vancouver's going to have to match the desperate play of Calgary. Right at this moment, they don't have it matched. They just look worried about how they're going to come about a good play to score a goal. If you don't start with the passion and the desperate play in the areas around the boards in particular, it probably won't happen.
Here is Yell with a steal. Yell will take it deep. Jovanovski ends up on top of him. Rucinski comes up with a loose pick. Martin Rucinski plays it off the boards. Here is Linden with it. Canucks finding it more and more difficult to find space in the neutral zone, so they dump it in deep. Now behind the net. Here is Henrik Sedin, hands it off for Linden. Linden makes a shift with the puck against Jerome McGinley. McGinley showing his strength in the defensive end. Linden, though, has it back to the line for Malik. Marek Malik, a shot redirected just over top of the crossbar. Jelena tried to clear. Sopel holds it in. Sopel snaps the shot. Kiprasov saw it all the way. Cleared to the line, but not out. Malik able to get it by McGinley. It's recovered now by Leopold. And now both teams starting to look tired. 48 hours ago, these teams went triple overtime. Maybe it's starting to take effect on all of these athletes. Under 2 minutes to go in regulation. Penalty coming. A Calgary player is down. This is a huge call here. And fans starting to litter the ice, so they know, they think which way it's going.
I think it's Vancouver, isn't it?
Well, the crowd thought it was going to be a Vancouver penalty. I'm still not sure which team it's against. It's a slashing call. It looks like it's against Calgary.
I saw a stick go up in that pile of players along the boards, too. Andy Ferentz. There was a broken stick, and it must have ended up being Andy Ferentz's 21 white.
Oh,
yes, there we go.
And there was, he went down really without being hit, but it looked like it may have been a Vancouver penalty, which would have been the end. But now, with a minute 48 and down by a goal, they've got the power play and a chance to pull the goalie if they need to. Face-off. Again, the Flames doing a great job, not allowing the Canucks to win it cleanly. Jovanovski holds it in, and
no,
did he? No, they say he did not.
It's tough for Kiprusoff. It's really tough for the defenders here on Calgary, but it's tough to be on a power play here. You go out with the game on the line, your nerves, your mind has got to concentrate. Go out there, act natural. Go out there, be creative. Go out there, score a goal on the power play. Yeah, you do it.
Salo drives it in. Flames able to clear. We'll keep an eye on Alex Hall. This power play's been very good. 5-on-4. They won't take a gamble with the open net just yet with this much time remaining. Now Naslund around the boards. There goes all to the bench for the extra attacker. It is 6 skaters against 4. And here's a chance for the Canucks. Saved by Kiprusoff off Brendan Morrison, who was the hero in Game 6. Keep in mind, if you're Calgary and you do get possession, you can fire it down the ice and don't have to worry about icing. That's the one thing about being shorthanded in this situation.
And that's why Trevor Linden is out there for the draws for Vancouver. For years, he's been doing this.
This one, Yell wins to the corner. Naslund ties up the Calgary player. Now Linden tries to feed it back to the point. That puck was up on the dasher for a moment. Now it comes back to the line. Olin winds up with a big shot. Saved by Kiprusoff. He's run into by Jovanovski. They let it go. Here is Salo with it. 1 minute remaining in regulation time. Salo behind the net for Naslund. Naslund looking to the front. It comes back to the line. Olin drives a shot. Didn't get all the way through. Salo sends it to the far side. Naslund has it again. Canucks spread it out with a man advantage. 45 seconds remaining in the third period. Possibly in the season for Vancouver. Naslund, a drive, missed the net. Tried to go high on the blocker side. Now it goes back in deep. Regeer for the Flames. Being tied up by Cook. Great job by Robin Regeer. Half a minute remaining now in the third. Back to Olin. Traffic in front of the net. Penalty coming, and it's going to go against Jovanovski for the high stick or the cross check. Oh, my.
Oh, man. There's so much traffic in front of the net. The recipient of it again was Rhett Warner. Rhett Warner has no helmet on right at the moment. He's the one that got whacked in the nose by Cook when Cook got the double minor that turned into the, looks like the winning goal. It stands up right now by Aginla. 55 black.
Oh, wow.
That's the cross check that he got called for. The second one, and the second one may have been the straw that broke the camel's back as far as the referee has in his mind. 4-on-4 situation, 26 seconds, and one of their best defensemen in the box.
Well, Jovanovski got away with a wicked one earlier. In the shift.
That's the nose problem that we talked about, where he got hit by Matt Cook. That's Rhett Warner. What a warrior this guy has been. The guys on the back end, Warner, Leopold, Ferentz, Regeer, have been astronomically solid and great, especially considering the amount of ice time that they played in Game 6 and is carried over now. You're talking about the 3 core defensemen for the Calgary Flames. Now, some of them approaching 70 minutes of ice time in 2 games.
And the faceoff coming outside the zone. Still the empty net down to our right. Morrison and Conroy. Conroy, great job to win the draw. Plays it ahead. Aginla with an open net. And he missed it just wide. Under 20 seconds remaining. Fans throwing some things on the ice. That's not the smart thing at this point. Aginla falls down, loses a stick. Here's Naslund cutting in. Naslund with the season on the line. Save, rebound, score! They score! Naslund made it happen, and Matt Cook has tied the game.
I don't believe this. If this wasn't real, I'd make it up. In the dying seconds, they
play.
go to the net. Kiprusoff has to make the save. Look at the time ticking off. My goodness. Andy Ferentz sitting in the box. It was 4-on-4. Maybe the extra space helped. I don't know what helped. That lady stopped biting her flag. Good for her.
Oh, my.
Good for Vancouver.
And guess what? When overtime starts, it'll be 4-on-4 for 10 seconds, and then it will be a power play for Calgary.
Yes.
And maybe that'll be a factor, but Matt Cook, the hero. Well, this crowd has finally had something to really explode about. Vancouver has won 5 of 8 overtime games all time.
I saw Jarome Iginla fall down in the middle of the ice, but I was so busy watching Marcus Naslund streaking down the wing with the puck. But that slash in the neutral ice area, I don't even know who slashed the stick out of the hands of Jarome Iginla, but it became a very huge play because when Iginla came right back to the front of the net, he had no stick to work with. He might have knocked that puck away. 4
skaters aside to start this overtime. There's less than 10 seconds remaining in the Ference penalty. When he comes out, Calgary will have a power play for nearly 1 minute 20 seconds. Here is Conroy into the zone. Ference goes to the bench. He's not part of the power play unit. He's replaced by someone who is, and that is Martin Jelena. And here come the Flames now with the man advantage. Iginla hands it off for Jelena. Tries to give it back to Iginla. Loose puck in the face-off circle. Conroy gets control on the far side. Now Keane knocks it away for the Canucks, and it's batted out to center ice. Huge opportunity here for Calgary with the power play to start this overtime. Regeer dumps it in wide of all. Olin tries to hammer it out of there. Held in by Calgary. Iginla with it, sets it up. Nice move by Conroy. Went back to the left point, but there was nobody there.
Whether it's on this power play for Calgary or even 5-on-5 if Vancouver survives this, there is no excuse not to know where Jarome Iginla is all the time. You choose your poison. He is by far the most poisonous guy. Don't let this guy shoot.
Here is Iginla with it. He'll pass it here out to Ference. Sends it on the far side. Warner with a shot tipped up over top of the crossbar. Here is Iginla again. Iginla hands it off to Yell. Shot save rebound. Iginla. Oh, what a stop. They score on the rebound. Martin Jelena has scored another series-clinching goal as he did for Carolina a couple of years ago in Toronto. And the Calgary Flames will meet the Detroit Red Wings in the second round of the playoffs.
Calgary just never gives up. They never give up. So many odds against them, and the reflection in the faces of the Vancouver Canucks tell that story. Jarome Iginla very nearly scored the winner. He came out of the corner, the puck came to the front of the net, and Iginla got a good shot on net, which was saved by Alex Auld, but Martin Jelena was hanging off to the side and stuffed it home. Here it comes off the wall. This is Iginla right here. That was a terrific shot, and everything Alex Auld could do to make the save. Unfortunately for Vancouver, the rebound came right out to Martin Jelena. As he backed away, he got it kicked right to him.
Oh.
He just threw it at the net. Alex Auld, in desperation, flipping his legs in the air. It went between them and under them, and the Calgary Flames have stunned the Vancouver Canucks beyond recognition.
And the great tradition of the handshakes following a hard-fought 7-game series. And do you believe it, the Calgary Flames win 3 games in this building, including Game 7, to move on to the second round of the playoffs and face the Detroit Red Wings.
The effort and the desperation and the fight and all that stuff for the Calgary Flames gives them their first playoff series win since 1989.